Okay, we're mixing things up a little bit this year. Since the frost knocked back so many plants, this used to be very dense. This star fruit was all the way up. It came on the outer edges of this bed. We had Mexican sunflower all along there, which are barely coming back. This guy obviously was here, but was smaller. We had katuk coming all the way up, and there was another plant over there. So behind the fence, or up against the fence, didn't get a lot of sun. But since we have more sun now, and until things grow back and start to shade it out, we're going to take the new opportunity of the sun and use it to our benefit. I'm going to throw some tomatoes back here. I've already pre-dug all of the holes, that way I can come and just plop, 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 and then cover it up and water it in. Isolating your tasks like that ends up saving you a lot of time. The more time you spend going back and forth, for example, digging one hole, taking one plant, putting it in, covering it up, and watering it, it's a lot of back and forth, and you have to get whatever you were using to dig start all over again. And all of those individual tasks are separated. It creates more time. If you first go and rake away the debris, then dig all the holes, then plant all the plants, then cover them up, and then water them, it's much quicker. Sometimes you have to stop and water them in because there's shock of the transplant, especially when you're using seed snails. But I can probably get this done pretty quick. So I set up these here just as a little bit of a trellis and to keep them away from the chickens until they get up about fence height, tall enough where the chickens won't be able to bother them anyways. So we're going to utilize all of this new open space here, and I'm not going to step on any of the baby katuk. And I'm going to experiment back here as well, which is much more shaded, even with everything knocked back, and see how they do, because the summers here get very hot. So maybe I can extend the tomato growing season, hi mulberry, by having them planted in an area with a little more shade. So let's get to it. Planted, mulched, and watered. I tied them up with little strips of feed bag because I ran out of string and I don't want to buy any. So they're just tied up while they get a little bit stronger, and I can guide them up this fence. I've been planted all along here, kept away from the chickens' reach as much as possible. They're already starting to perk up with being watered, and the little donut of the mulch helped to push the water deep down in there. This guy was totally sagging and is already doing better. I'm probably going to come back out and water that again this evening just because it's a little bit dry back here, but we'll see. Hopefully I won't get caught up in something. So we planted all the way down. And then real quick, it's another way to try to be efficient with your watering when you have to just use a hose and you have to walk water around. I know this might seem crazy, but put the hose in the bucket, turn it on so it runs nonstop, and then as it's running, take it up just like that, and then start carrying the water farthest in, and then the bucket is refilling while you're watering, so then you don't have to stand here and wait for the bucket to refill again. You always take this bucket and place it right next to the plant that you want to deep water, let the bucket fill up all the way, and then as it's running over, it's spilling into the plant that you want it to water rather. And I can't do it because I only have one hand available, but I actually grabbed 2 of these buckets, which allowed me to keep up with how fast this water was coming out and carrying it longer distances, like all the way back there. I watered those and those ones over there. And these are actually really easy to handle. And it's a good amount of water, especially when you bring 2 of them. So I didn't have to sit around and wait for this to be filled up. I just let it run, and I'm not worried about excess dripping off because that's Katuk. That's Katuk, and it loves water. Another little chat about knowing yourself. I know me, and I know I'm going to get real bored with this real quick. And then these long ones, all the way back here, rather long distance ones, are going to seem like such a chore, dragging water all the way out to it. And if you're the same, do that first. Do the ones farthest away that takes the most work to get to first. And then when you're in the home stretch, you're doing the ones close to your water source. It feels super easy. You'll feel like, okay, I'm almost done. I got this. And then before you know it, you've watered everything without getting overwhelmed and wanting to quit.